Hey, love. Welcome to Shift Happens with Shay, your soft space for mental health, relationships, and self growth. Let's shift into healing together.
Hey, loves, and welcome back to Ship Happens with Shay. So, if you are new here, welcome. Happy to have you here within the ship with me. Today, I want to ask you something. Think about the healthiest relationship you ever witnessed. Dang, shit. I just got in. I know. But we're going to start right off the bat because you clicked on here for a reason, right? So, I want you to take a moment and think about the healthiest relationship you ever witnessed. Not the happiest, not the easiest, the healthiest. Did those people never disagree? Probably not. Realistically, we all disagree with each other at one point in our lives. In fact, I'd be willing to guess the people that are thinking of experienced misunderstandings, frustration, conflict, disappointment, just like everyone else. The difference wasn't that they avoided conflict. The difference was that they knew how to come back to each other afterwards. And that's the conversation we're having today. Because too often there's this huge myth and misunderstanding that we should avoid conflict, that we shouldn't fight, that we should pretty much walk honestly on eggshells around each other, stuff it in, suppress it, never say it. Because it's better to keep it inside than it is to have to fight, than it is to get into these arguments. But to be honest, healthy relationships are not healthy because they don't fight. Healthy relationships aren't healthy because they don't have conflict. That's a myth we've been sold. And it's not true. Healthy relationships repair. That's the big difference between an abusive one and between a healthy one. Between one that's not for you and one that is for you. Healthy relationships repair because you are able to come back together and you're able to come back to yourself, which is a huge thing. And you guys know how I feel about coming home to yourself. That I do not play with because that is one of the biggest things that's one of my biggest philosophies here with Ship Happens with Shay, is you coming home to yourself, you rebuilding self-trust, you rebuilding emotional safety, and then eventually getting into genuine connection with yourself. And you can't do that if you don't know how to repair after hurt. Many of us learned two things growing up: that conflict was explosive, or conflict didn't exist because nobody talked about it. Think about it. What home were you a part of? Were you in the home where most people yelled? Were you in the home where most people withdrew? Were you in the home where everybody pretended that everything was fine? And long pauses of silence. Whatever your experience may be, your nervous system learned something about conflict from those experiences. Some people became the pursuers. Very key word here, special word. You pursue. Always going after. Whenever conflict is in here, initiating it. Others became withdrawers. We backed away from it, didn't want to engage in it. It was just too much. We're stuck in our heads trying to find a solution on how to end it because we're like, yo, all of this doesn't help. I can't focus. I can't think. I have to do it up here. And some of you apologize immediately, even when you didn't do anything wrong. You just learn to apologize on spot, saying sorry for your existence when conflict arises just because you had a different thought than the other person. Other people shut down completely. And it's not because they're bad communicators. To be quite honest, we're not taught how to have healthy communication. You doing, and I'm going to segue into that, but you doing any of those, pursuing, fighting, avoiding, walking away, whatever it may be, you do all those things because your nervous system learned that this is how you protect yourself during conflict. Going back to the point that you guys aren't bad communicators. That's false. We're not taught how to healthily communicate in a relationship. and that could be romantic, non-romantic, with your family and whatnot, we're not really taught healthy communication. You're not taught how to repair when conflict arises, which is an important skill that most of us end up not learning into our first heartbreak or we're engaging in the world outside of home. Because now we're over here butting heads with everybody else's type of dealings when they enter conflict. We're dealing with all these different nervous systems giving different information. You're not a bad communicator, you just weren't taught. So, and that's what people misunderstand. And something I wish more people understood is that conflict doesn't damage your relationships. When you don't repair conflict, then it does. Conflict isn't inherently this evil thing. If anything, what I tell my couples, I tell them look at every conflict as a challenge because it is an opportunity to communicate and love each other even better. Because what are you hearing? What is truly happening within your interaction cycle? What's going on for you? When you don't repair, I'll promise you, if you guys don't come back, you feel empty, you feel numb, you feel misunderstood, you feel silly, maybe you feel judged. You may feel a lot of things, but resolve ain't it, relief ain't it. And there's a big difference because two people can have a disagreement and leave feeling more connected. I know that sounds backwards from what we're taught, but it's true. You can leave an argument, you can leave a conflict and come to an understanding during that conflict and understand your person and they understand you so much more. So now you feel heard, you feel seen, you feel addressed, you feel relief. Because when we experience repair, repair sounds like, I can see how hurt you are. I can see how there I misunderstood. Can we try again? I don't want us to stay disconnected. Repair isn't about proving who's right, and that's where we start diverting. Diverting. Repair is about protecting the relationship, protecting that friendship, protecting that mom-daughter, protecting that son-father, mom-to-son, sibling. It's about protect your relationship. And here is something beautiful. Repair is one of the greatest builders of trust because every successful repair teaches your beautiful nervous system we can survive hard moments and stay connected. Isn't that wonderful? So okay, so we can survive hard moments. That's scary. And it is. I'm not going to sit here knowing the knowledge that I have about repair and what it takes to build a healthy relationship and to build one with with my loved ones. It doesn't mean I don't trip up. It is hard sometimes because my heart races when an argument happens, conflict, depending on how escalated it is. And maybe I'm starting to go red. Maybe I don't even hear things as much. Maybe my chest is tightening, I'm clenching up my fist. My nervous system tends to want to go into fight. It's not really a freeze unless there's, I don't know, some logic, but my natural is to want to fight. So I understand that. What if they don't hear me? What if I'm putting myself on the line? What if this repair doesn't go right? And that's okay. You're not always going to repair 100% correctly every time. We're learning each other. When you cool off and you cool down, you come to each other. Come back. And speak from your emotions. Don't speak from, I think. No, I feel. This is what I'm feeling right now. This is what's happening inside of me when I hear these things. When we're fighting and you're saying X, Y, Z, this is what I feel and this is what I'm thinking of myself. And this is how I think you see me. Those. None of that is me blaming. I want you to remember that. definitely want to stay away from blaming language, because as soon as it's you, never, you've lost. And the whole goal is to protect your relationship. So be vulnerable. You can survive hard moments and stay connected. So realistically, what does a healthy repair actually look like? It looks like what I just did for you. But if that's a lot, because, hey, maybe that sounds like, Shay, I ain't there yet. That's real healthy. That's a real secure in yourself. That's real understanding. Is that because you're a therapist? Nope, that's because of a lot of failed relationships. Conflict within friends or families or romantic relationships. That is how. Therapy only gave me the language for it. I'm human just like you, boo. So let's start from the beginning then. It can look like it begins with one question. What happened between us? Well, what just went down? Not who's at fault, who did it, but you did. Back it up. We're not doing that. What happened between us? That gives us both equal responsibility for what's going on in our relationship. We're not trying to find out who started it, but we're trying to figure out what happened. When did the disconnection happen? When did we start going on different levels? When did we get different frequencies? Where is that disconnection? And remember, we're asking when is it happening? Because curiosity creates connection. When we are curious about one another, we're not defensive. I always want you to practice curiosity, because in all of your relationships, you should be curious about the person in front of you if you love them that much. You should be curious about why this hurt them the way it did. You should be curious about why, whenever they're feeling a certain way, it makes you activated in here. Defensiveness creates distance. Curiosity creates connection. And then we can take responsibility for our parts. I get it, the little troll that we're not wrong, we're girl, we chit-chat, we're always right, but we're not. Maybe most of the time, but not all the time. So even if it's only 10%, not 100% perfect repair, but even if it's only 10%, do it. Because repair doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't require that. We're humans. We're not going to repair perfectly every time. All it requires is your humility. So take accountability for your role in the conflict that took place, because that's where repair is going to start. Sometimes repair also includes giving someone time before continuing the conversation. And that's for my anxious people. When you feel like if you don't have the conversation right now, well, it's about to blow up, slow down, babe. Sometimes you have to give your partner, your friend, your mom, your dad, your siblings, any relatives, you got to give them space so that they can regulate themselves. They can soothe themselves. So they're not just popping off at you and you guys are hurting again. Repair isn't about, let's do this right now so we can feel better now. It's about reconnecting. And reconnecting takes time. It takes time. Don't rush it. And I've been mentioning throughout here, not just romantic relationships, because that's what I'm saying. Don't go off on your friends. Imagine that you snapped at a friend after a stressful week. Instead of pretending it never happened, because when we pretend we didn't do that, I'm sure most of the time it's because what's those words we've used in here? Shame, guilt. Guilt, feel like you did a bad thing, which you did. Shame, I am a bad person for doing that. Shame, that those two, shame and guilt, we can't have them here preventing us from repair. If anything, they should push you to repair so you no longer feel those things. So instead of pretending it never happened, you could say something along the lines of, I've been thinking about our conversation. And I don't like how I showed up. I'm sorry. Maybe your child goes to you, from my mom, and they tell you, Mommy, you hurt my feelings. Instead of defending yourself and getting ready to go off on them and say, I'm the adult here. I know what I'm doing. It's not about your feelings. You know you did something wrong. But Don't dismiss. Instead of defending yourself and your choices, become curious, or maybe it's okay to sit in your disappointment of yourself because you didn't like how you showed up for your child. If you disappoint yourself, repair with yourself. Sounds like I made a mistake. It doesn't mean I abandoned myself. Because relationships with yourself deserve repair too. In all of those examples, there's no blame in there. It's not about, well, you did this, you did that. It's all about curiosity. It's all about owning your part and just talking, well, expressing your feeling, emotions, and telling you when it comes to communication, when we start talking from emotions and not context, well, when you did this with the trash can, or when you moved this over here, or the actual situation, bump that. Talk about the emotions that came from that situation. You will get so much further in your repairs if you start there. I made a mistake. I'm not awful. I'm human. So just take a moment for yourself. Stop asking yourself how I can avoid conflict. It's not about avoiding. I want you to start asking, how do I become someone who knows how to repair? How do I become someone that looks at conflict as an opportunity for reconnection? Those are just completely different goals. And when you start looking at it with that mindset, you create healthier interactions, healthier goals for what you're trying to accomplish when conflict arises. I would like to think most of us who aren't toxic, we're not trying to fight with our loved ones. That's exhausting. We want to live in harmony. We want to grow. We want to have fun and laugh and joy. We want more of those moments. But when a rupture happens, we have to do our due diligence to engage repair. Because now you trust yourself and you trust the other person more to hold you and you to hold them during discomfort. So you know I'm about to give you homework. Oh boy, Shinglai. Come on. It's only for the week or the month because challenge yourself. 1 week of doing this, I don't think it's going to be enough to integrate it. I think we should just do it a little off, a little bit more off. Oh. So I want you to notice one rupture. It could be with yourself. It could be with a friend. It could be with a coworker. It could be with a family member. Don't matter who it is. Pick somebody. And instead of ignoring it, I want you to practice one repair. That could be one honest conversation. Honest, not brutal. For my people that are like, I'm just blunt. That's brutal. We don't do brutality here. Honest conversations. Graceful. One apology, one moment of curiosity, one attempt to reconnect. And out of those options, I want you to be honest with yourself. Which one just made your nervous system kind of freeze up or give you tingles or whatever sensation you're feeling? Because that is the one I want you to practice. Of course, pick one that was easy that your nervous system said, I could do that. Do that one a couple of times just so you get used to repairing. But then I want you to practice the one that makes you feel a little, I don't know, cringe or a little vulnerable. Because that's all that sensation is telling you. Like, dang, that make me feel very vulnerable. I do want you to practice that. Practice that one. Because that's the area we need to grow. So just one. Once a week. Because at this point, I realize I'm doing session with you sometimes monthly instead of bi-weekly here. So I want you to do something each week. Practice one of these: an honest conversation, an apology, a curiosity, attempt at repair. Because one of these is an insight, one is an action. I want you to do that. Journal time to come back to yourself. All right. If you are driving, of course, my disclaimers as per usual. Please answer out loud. Y'all already know how I get down. Answer out loud. Those of you who are comfy in your couches, chairs, floors, yoga mats, wherever you may be, go ahead and pull out your journals. And I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions. What did conflict teach me growing up? For me personally, it taught me to fight. If you don't fight, you get stomped all over. Yeah, it's how I remember it. It's very volatile. Second, do I fear conflict or disconnection? I fear disconnection. I fear no longer belonging in that person's heart. I fear no longer being allowed or having access to their world. I fear losing them. What does repair look like in my relationship with myself? For me, repair is slowing down. I do have to slow down. I do have to take a moment for myself because I can so easily sometimes switch into my survival gear that says, you got this, you're strong, keep it up. Move through, move through, move through. And sometimes that's not the right answer. Sometimes I have to slow down and be like, I'm so disappointed in how I abandoned myself. And that might be, I'm so upset that I didn't trust my gut. I'm so upset that I didn't take the time to research just more before this outcome. I'm sorry I let myself down. That wasn't my intention. And that is what matters though. I'm going to do better because I deserve better. I need to listen to my heart more because it knows me. My body, my heart, my soul has wisdom. I am wisdom. And wisdom learns from failures because success is not the absence of failure. It looks like gentleness with myself, a lot of gentleness. What I used to think was condescending, I found out was soothing. Last question. Who do I need to reconnect with? Personal. I'll be doing some of that. Well, by the time this airs, I will actually be with the person that I do need some reconnection with within my own emotional capacity. I'll be spending time with them during this new transition in their life. And I am excited to be a part of it. But I do realize we need more reconnecting moments, a little bit more repair. So here is your beautiful affirmation for episode 28. Conflict does not mean connection is lost. I can move towards repair with honesty and compassion. My relationships do not need to be perfect to be secure. Intimacy grows through repair. Maybe healing isn't about learning how to avoid conflict. Maybe it's more about becoming someone who knows how to find their way back. Back to yourself, back to one another, back to connection. Because relationships aren't built through perfection, they're built through repair. And perhaps one of the most beautiful forms of intimacy we can practice repair. Love you guys. And with that being said, I want to let you guys know I did it. I opened my own practice. Ship Happens with Shay California Wellness is a thing, y'all. Yeah. And I am able to see people, telehealth in Florida, DC, and New Jersey. It's a reality and it's coming true. I do also offer in-person services, individual therapy, couple therapy, and EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. If you're into needing trauma-informed therapy, I'm your girl. And I did that. And be on the lookout this fall because if you're in Florida and you're in the central Florida area near Orlando and whatnot, I'll be hosting my very first in-person workshop. Just a nice little girls' night. So I'll tell you more as we get closer. Okay. But if you enjoyed what you got here today, awesome. Take what lands and leave the rest. Go ahead and hit that bell and subscribe so you get notifications. And you know my next update. So what's going on within the shift. Love you guys. So also, if you made it this far, go ahead and type in the comment. Repair equals connection. Repair equals connection. And if you're just listening to this, hey, leave a review on the podcast. That works well. Or hit me up on Instagram. I love to hear from you all. You can find me there. Or on my website. You can email me from there too. Check her out. The revamp is beautiful. You'll see all my tidbits and think more pieces on my blogs and about my therapy services. Let me know what you think. I worked hard on it. Anyway, I love you guys. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. And remember, intimacy isn't the absence of conflict. It's the willingness to repair after it. I love you all. Mwah.
Thanks for spending this time with me on Shift Happens with Shay. Be sure to subscribe and check the link in the description for more ways to shift into healing.